Welcome everybody to IFDA International Webinar with Japan. I please ask you all to keep yourself muted and to keep your video off. Do not turn it on. We will allow you to turn it on during the question and answer period at the end, but we'd like to concentrate on the folks that are giving us this great experience. So please keep your video off and keep yourself muted. And if you would hit speaker view, you will get the best view of this evening. So I would appreciate if you would all follow those guidelines. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kane in 1 second when I figure out how to hit the record button. Okay, here we go. Kane, are you ready?
I am ready. Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for our presentation tonight, Kominka, Traditional Housing in Japan Then and Now. My name is Kane Elizabeth Wilk. I'm an interior designer and principal of Kane Designs based in Brooklyn, New York, and a member of the IFDA New York chapter. Tonight I will be your co-host for our presentation along with Dave Gilbert, who's general manager and principal of Bravas, Beautiful Places and Smart Spaces, a smart home control company based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Please note that we will be taking questions in the chat box, and you can submit them at any time. Please remember to reference the slide number if needed. And if you're comfortable, let us know where you're joining from, since we have an international audience tonight. Dave and I will field the questions at the end during the Q&A session. And now I'd like to introduce Ida McCausland, the International President of the IFDA.
Hello, and welcome to the wide world of International Furnishings and Design Association. I'm Ida McCausland, also an interior designer based in Philadelphia, and I'm president of IFDA. We are the only all-inclusive interior design and furnishing organization. IFDA is also represented by our IFDA Educational Foundation, where we give over $35,000 each year in scholarships to full, part-time, and graduate students, as well as grants to educators and professionals who wish to further their education. We are so pleased that you could join us tonight as we engage in our third collaboration with members of our Japanese chapter. We are very excited also to be part of NYC Design once again. These events would not be possible without the support of our international industry partners. Hunter Douglas, our Platinum Industry Partner, and The Shade Store, our Gold Industry Partner. We'd like to thank them for helping to make this event happen. And also, many, many thanks to our New York chapter for all of their help in producing this event. Now, I'd like to introduce Yasue Ishikawa, our founder and current president of the Japanese chapter, who will be talking to us about... Yasue? You're on.
Should I? I didn't expect to talk, but I'm very pleased and great honor of presenting this webinar from Japan chapter. Thank you for everyone helping Akiko to put all together with this. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. And now I am pleased to introduce our two distinguished presenters for this evening. Akiko Kawahara is an authority on Kominka, the traditional building design of Japan. A graduate of Konan Women's University in Kobe, Akiko's early design interests led her to Denmark in her 20s to study ceramics at the Royal Danish Academy, formerly the Glass and Ceramics School in Denmark. After staying in Denmark for 6 years, she started to truly appreciate the spirit and value of old things. This led her to an appreciation of the handmade, the traditional, and the natural elements that make objects and buildings. Akiko currently runs a small construction company called Kawahara Kobo with her husband, Mr. Yasutaka Kawahara, whom she met while volunteering on Japanese folk houses or traditional house renovation projects. To date, they have restored more than 100 of these homes in the Kobe region of Japan. She has also dedicated herself to reaching out to young people and people from foreign cultures to convey the values and charm of Japanese folk homes. Joining Akiko this evening is Yuna Tsuji, the General Manager of Kawahara Kobo. She has been engaged in construction work for 24 years. Since joining Kawahara Kobo, she has studied under Mr. Kawahara and has been involved in the restoration of old Japanese houses for 17 years, as well as giving seminars and lectures on this subject. An old Japanese house, properly restored, is something that Japan can be proud of at home and throughout the world. Yuna and the team engage in many activities to convey the charm of these old houses, which are full of Japanese history, wisdom, technology, and beauty, in order to make them known to as many people as possible. Please note that while both Akiko and Yuna are presenting this evening, Yuna's portion is primarily pre-recorded. We will have translation available for both of our presenters during the Q&A session if needed. And now, without further ado, Akiko and Yuna.
Hi, I'm Akiko Kawahara.
Hi, Yuna Tsuji.
And thank you very much for your valuable time today. We would like to take this opportunity today to share with you a webinar about the charm and the potential of the old Japanese homes, which is a cultural heritage that Japan is proud of. So we're gonna talk about a kominka, a new possibilities for Japanese traditional homes. Now, let me explain what we'd like to talk about today. A. About us. B. Current housing situation in Japan. C. Kominka, restoring a traditional home. D. Volunteer activity in a kominka. E. Problems of kominka and their solutions. F. Problems of kominka and their solutions. F. Bringing the charm of kominka to the world. G. Final thoughts. This is our company, Kawahara Kobo. We are a very small construction company in Kansai area in Japan. So Yuna is going to tell you briefly.
We are a company engaged in the restoration of tangible cultural properties such as temples and shrines. We do this by utilizing the knowledge and technical capabilities necessary for the restoration of these very old houses. And we want to spread the charm and beauty of these old Japanese houses, which is considered a very fine example of Japanese craftsmanship and a cultural icon, worth preserving and sharing with the world. With the knowledge, technology, and passion, we have rebuilt more than 100 old traditional houses. In recognition of this achievement, we have received requests from many organizations such as architects associations, local governments, universities, and health seminars to convey the charm of old Japanese houses. Through many years of study, dedication, and action, we have trained craft artists who have expertise and knowledge of how to preserve these wonderful old Japanese buildings and help pass down to future generations living symbols of our treasured Japanese heritage and family life.
B. Current housing situation in Japan. I have a question. Which is more beautiful to you, image A or B? I think it depends on the person, but I definitely feel the beauty of B. I don't know why. Perhaps it is in our DNA. When entering a traditional home, most Japanese people think nostalgic. It can be said that this is exactly what NA can do. Now that the world is becoming more globalized, we are in an era where there are many similar things wherever we go. While it has become a convenient life, things like individuality and culture have gradually faded. Japan has also achieved unprecedented rapid development due to the high economic growth after World War II. Housing is no exception. Many Western styles have been adapted, and some traditional Japanese design and dining experience have changed too. The use of tatami mats are waning, and the table and chairs are more often used for dining rather than sitting on the mat. Especially since COVID, housing that incorporates private rooms that respect individuals' needs for privacy or special activity have become more popular here as in other parts of the world. C. Kominka, restoring a traditional home. However, recently, interest in this old-style image of Japanese homes has begun to be gradually revived, mainly by young people. Until now, the image of kominka has been negative, with people thinking of them as cold and dark. On a positive note, however, if you know the essence of kominka, it is the ultimate recycling house that conforms to the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, adopted by the United Nations, and the people began to realize the positive impact that these homes have on our environment. So, what is kominka? It is often said that kominka is referred to as a Japanese dwelling that has been built for a long time. However, there is no concrete and clear definition. In the cultural property registration system established by the government, 50 years or more is the target criteria. So can all Japanese houses that are more than 50 years old be called kominka? We say no. We don't think so. Kominka cannot be determined by their age just because a house is 50 years old. Can it be said that they are all old traditional homes? With a house currently being built become kominka after 50 years? Kominka is something that can't be identified in number of years. It should not be. We would like to call a valuable building that uses traditional construction method and without nails kominka. Not how many years old it is. We think that the time when it was built and the background of that era is important. The wood used in all Japanese houses is solid and of good quality, so it should last for more than 100 to 200 years after cutting. Also, by using the irori technique, which is charring wood in a fireplace, smoke is taken off, keeping insects away and making the wood even stronger. There was wisdom and reason for these ancient customs. When the clay walls used in old Japanese houses become old, the clay dropped off and mixed with soil and was reused. By doing so, the microorganism in the soil gives strength to the clay. Inside the clay wall, there is a core part called takekomai. This is a woven layer of bamboo and hemp rope. It is a natural heat insulating material that can store warm air in the daytime. In this way, everything used in all Japanese homes is derived from nature and can be returned to the soil at the end. The carpenter's skill of not using any nails on the pillars makes this possible. The art of tsugite, a wood joinery technique, has long been admired as a skill of beauty, but it also has sustainability benefits. By using puzzle-like interlocking wooden joints, timber can be joined without nails, glue, metal braces or fasteners, which means that when it disintegrates or is demolished, everything is degradable or can be reused. The big difference between the modern construction method and the old Japanese technique is also seen in the foundation. In modern construction, pillars are fixed to the solid concrete foundation with anchor bolts. In an old Japanese house, pillars are placed directly on the foundation stones and the framework is firmly stabilized. It is solidified ishibatate, which is the traditional Japanese timber frame construction method. While the structure using the modern construction method are made so they do not shake. The structure of all Japanese houses are built so that the force generated by the shaking is released to the ground. The method is more ideal during an earthquake.
D. People gathering in kominka, volunteer activity. We value the continued volunteer activities of renovations of Japanese houses. As part of our social contribution, I would like to introduce some of those projects. First of all, I would like to introduce the volunteer group Kominkazoku, which is a life work. Kominkazoku is an organization that is learning Japanese traditional culture and architectural style while restoring old Japanese traditional houses. We work with a student volunteer group sponsored by volunteers from the Department of Living Environments, Mukogawa Women's University. Students are learning while having a lot of fun. Do you see a person of red clothes? It's me.
Here we would like to introduce the movie of Kominkazoku. This was created by the Nishinomiya City Tourism Association. We hope you can feel the ancient Japanese atmosphere. The volunteer activities featured on this movie are mainly about processing kaya, which is called to repair thatched roof in kominka.
小麦を一緒に育てることで小麦も食べれるし、屋根も吹き替えすることができるし、キッチンでご飯も食べれる。今年の目標はキッチン、みんなでキッチンで作業して、それでご飯を食べる。こっちの人がすごいからなんか庭切れるんだなっていう、ちょっと現代のものに対していつもなんかここで反省してる。昨年度にセミリタが初めてやって、すごいなんか肉体労働でめっちゃ大変だなとか思ってたんですけど、いざ建てこまいも作って、ひねりした土を塗って壁になった時のなんか達成感のようなものを感じるのがすごく嬉しいですね。かやぶきも同じように屋根木を再生することができるっていう喜びみたいなのを感じますね。
Now let me introduce another volunteer activity. This is Yuga Fusha. Yuga Fusha is the birthplace of Masato Hirai, the representative of Regional Cultural Heritage Study Group. Friends who have participated in the restoration work of this 130 years old thatched roof kominka, and people who gathered there named this kominka Yuga Fusha. And we are exploring, creating, nurturing, and preserving handicraft culture as a living textbook. Kawahara Kobo opened a crime school in Yuga Fusha, where the general public can study old Japanese houses. Kominka is made by handwork that makes full use of the ancient Japanese wisdom and technique of traditional construction method. This is a Japanese thatched roof. It is reproduced by an old Japanese method we saw in the video. Kaya, the plant material used for the roof, is cultivated and stored in the attic. It can be stored there for 30 to 40 years. As kaya decays, it becomes a fertilizer for growing new crops kaya. By stacking these thatched roofs on top of each other, the thickness increases. When you enter kominka, you will be surprised at the quietness as a result of this natural sound barrier insulation and the natural gradation of color and texture of thatched roof is very beautiful to behold. Kominka is without the use of nails, made of half timber. Craftsmen who can regenerate kominka is gradually coming decreased. It is difficult to obtain tools and materials for repairing old traditional houses. And above all, the traditional construction method has not been inherited. Once demolished, kominka cannot be made with modern building technology. For this reason, we continue to regenerate kominka. Here are some pictures showing the beauty of traditional construction method. Characteristic beauty tied with a rope. Make the most of the shape of nature. Techniques that do not use nails, komisen and kusabi.
Old traditional Japanese houses are joined using komisen and kusabi joints made from wood without using nails. They are constructed so the joints have a slight gap. The pieces can slip through each other, leaving that slight gap. Because the wood had some give, the joints used created a building that does not oppose the dangerous forces of nature we sometimes experience here, but rather has the suppleness to absorb the force and therefore makes it more difficult for the building to collapse. This wisdom protects us from earthquakes. It was completed in 5000 BC.
In order faithfully restore kominka, you must use all the tools. However, it is difficult to find these tools in modern time. That way we also restore all the tools as well. Yugafusha is registered as a tangible cultural property of Kobe City. Yugafusha has been faithfully restored to its original state. It is an amateur volunteer activity, so it can be faithfully restored. What this means is that this was successful because we humbly accepted the tradition and did not include I. This success has reminded us of the importance of a humble attitude.
E. Problems of kominka and their solutions. Although it is kominka that is beginning to be renovated, there are various problems to be solved in order to live comfortably. As I mentioned earlier, cold and dark are not very favorite descriptives used in modern living environments. Since the ancestors built their homes in the muggy, hot summer, many Japanese houses had long eaves and shadows to help alleviate the heat. So it is natural to feel cold and dark in the winter. However, we believe that housing needs to change with these times. Of course, it is important to renovate the style of old homes, but in order to pass on as many old folk-style traditional houses to the next generation, it is necessary to emphasize the comfort that modern people demand. Now, we are trying to put a natural heat-insulating material outside of the clay wall without destroying the atmosphere of the old Japanese homes. I expect that this will create warmth inside while still keeping the material that can be converted into soil. Speaking of darkness, the length of the eaves unique to an old Japanese house is left as it is, but by removing the low ceiling inside and making it an atrium space up to the high ceiling, the space is visually expanded and the light spread into all parts of the room. We are often proposing this idea to our customers to brighten the area. F. Bringing the charm of kominka to the world. Kominka that has been explained so far is a culture that Japan is proud of. We hope that the people around the world will start to know more about these old traditional Japanese homes and appreciate them as we do. Recently, young people are paying close attention to the space where footwear is placed, which is called the doma. This space characteristic of old Japanese homes. It was a space within the house that was left in the natural clay, like dirt state. No flooring was used on it. People back then hammered the ground to compact the clay earth to make it hard. This area usually led from the entrance to the kitchen, and it had the feeling of the outside since the floor was bare. This is an example of the recent renovation using the dormer space. It is being used as a shoe cloakroom or as a spot to park your bicycle. Also, in the Japan culture, where we take off our shoes and enter the house, it is becoming more and more popular as an entrance space or foyer where we can easily talk with guests or customers without taking off our shoes. Or sometimes the stove is placed in a large dormer and the area used as a room. Coupled with the recent unprecedented outdoor living boom in Japan, this dormer space has been redesigned as a space where we can get more green biophilia feeling and enjoy the great outdoors inside. Buildings are not the only attraction of this old Japanese house that has finally been restored. I also want to remember the timeless and attractive materials and the tools used to create them. This is a painting depicting the landscape of a medieval construction site. People still use the same tool to renovate kominka. You can see a man who is standing with a long ruler. He is a master. I feel that it is an important mission to protect history in this way.
G. Final thoughts. What we want to convey in the new interest of kominka. Why do we want to keep the old Japanese house? Old traditional Japanese houses, not history, are homes for us to live in, because the origin of life is there and it is a place of mind. And it's not gorgeous, beautiful, because it doesn't go against nature and power. In this webinar, we talked about the essence of an old Japanese houses, which is a valuable traditional construction method that Japan can be proud of. We hope that as many people as possible will feel the wonder of kominka. However, many do not know the correct value of kominka. Here is one theory, Junichiro Tanizaki's. In place of shadow, state. And so it has come to be that the beauty of Japanese room depends on a variation of shadows. Heavy shadows against light shadows. It has nothing else. Westerners are amazed at the simplicity of Japanese room, perceiving in them no more than a sham wall, bereft of ornament. Their reaction is understandable, but it betrays a failure to comprehend the mystery of shadows.
Please look around yourself. How much of what is around you that can be returned to the soil? The old Japanese house will return everything to the soil in the end. Renovating an old Japanese house is a perfect activity that follows the principles of the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. We are a small construction company in Japan. We never dreamed that we could make a presentation on such a big stage. If you hear this announcement and remember old Japanese houses, we think our mission is success. And if anyone wants to contact us, please contact us here. Thank you for listening. And thank you very much to all the people that helped make this event possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Akiko and Yuna. Beautiful presentation. So we have about 15 minutes to take some questions. We've already had a few come in here. So I'd like to ask you, I guess first we had a couple of people ask, how long does it take to fix one of these homes from start to finish?
It depends, it's a difficult question, but it depends on how big it is and how complicated it is. So, but どのくらいですかね、大体一つの古民家を直すのに。It may be 6 months to 1 year.
Okay.
今回のボランティアだったら、約もう5年から。
そうですね。
かかりましたね。
And if people want to work by themselves, it takes much more time. And example, it's the house we repaired or rebuilt, renovate the Kominka with all volunteer group. It took 6 years.
Wow, really? Oh, goodness.
Because we are teaching and learning by ourselves, and then so it took a very long time. But we have a lot of fun with this.
Yes.
Also, we worked once a month, so it should be. It takes a long time.
Yeah. We had a question on slide 9, if you're able to go back to number 9, asking if both of those houses were already restored or in progress of being restored.
9 here.
Yes, so it looks like perhaps the one on the left is in.
Okay, this is called Kura. It's
all the stuff you put in there, I think.
What do you say that?
Rocco can help you out with that.
Yeah, Koya.
Kura is like used to older people, like old age. They put it in a lot of like important things you put it in, and
so they store the memorial stuff or special clothes. It's like kimono. It's stored in this building. Yeah.
Or some paper stuff, you know, like Edo 時代のものとか。old like paper stuff too, like a tsubo, like you know, like vase, old vase,
old
like
that they have.
yeah.
Dave, you guys need to be a little bit louder, okay?
Okay. As far as you can't see, I don't know if you can see my camera. We're having problems with the with Zoom today on this end.
Yeah, that's okay.
No, we can't see you, but we can hear you just a little louder.
Okay.
So the house on the left is before it was restored, and then the one on the right is the restored building. Is that right?
All already restored, and also that the point is it's not the house. It's just on the storage, building.
Right, a storage building.
Yeah, and also you're not saying that the thickness of the wall is much more. 20 centimeter.
Okay.
It's protected from the fire, so it doesn't burn.
Okay.
That
makes sense. That makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you. Great. Another question that I actually have. Is this type of restoration more popular in Kobe than other areas of Japan? Do you know?
神戸がそのリノベーションしたりするのがすごく特に盛んな場所なんですか？It's about Kominka. It's not normal restoration. Kominka restoration of Kominka.
西宮は兵庫県は すごくかやぶきの小屋が多くて、
そうですね。
はい、有名だ。
We have a lot of kaya kominka, which we show that the kaya is the special roof materials using the straw.
The thatched roofs.
Yeah, that's the roof. Yeah,
Okay.
and we have a lot of that roof kominka in this area.
Okay.
So it means it's very popular to restore the kominka here. I think. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
You have any other questions out there from anybody? If anybody is, if you say Japanese, you can, they can ask a question.
日本語で誰かクエスチョンありましたらどうぞ。
日本語 OK です。
日本の方。
There's an interesting question in here from Rose Hittmeyer. Next time, can we get tour of the house and tell us how the residents would have used each room? How would the homes of a wealthy and modest household have differed? And how did they control the temperature in the home each season? Lovely presentation. Thank you.
What does it mean? I can't get it, the point. Sorry.
冬とか夏にどうやって、
That's your next webinar. That's the next presentation.
Okay, ね。Okay.
温度を調節するのかって日本は調節しないでしょ。温度管理。アメリカは全部ヒーターとかそういう温度調節のあれがあるけど、日本はないでしょ。
今すぐ自然に沿った建物なんです。
自然、ナチュラル。
はい、古民家は、すごく自然に沿った建物なんですね。だから人間に合わせない。自然に合わせる。
Not for the human, just for natural.
They're having a very separate conversation here.
They're almost trying to translate about what Rose had asked about controlling the temperature in each different room. And Nina said, what?
Human, they don't consider it human.
It's more considered to be natural than taking into consideration a human need.
Yeah.
ただ屋根かやぶきがかなり長くあります。なので夏の暑い日差しを避けることができます。そして冬は土壁なので意外に保温性はとてもあります。それは先人の知恵ですね。
Like a roof, straw roof is more in the summertime. It's very like
keeps it cool.
Yeah, keeps it cool, and wall is made from like a clay, so it's warmer in the winter time.
So it's all natural?
Yeah, natural.
Wow.
And then kominka should not be the very なんていうのかな keep warm inside because the air should be run through the older part of the house because it should not be like to keep the so warm. Do you understand what I mean? そう、気密を高くしちゃダメなんですよね。
そうです。
Too warm inside the house.
生きるための家なんです。ですから、それが大事。
If you have a cold, you wear more clothes.
Put more clothes on if you're cold.
Yeah, that's right.
余計なものは何もないです。
Well, someone just asked, Akiko and Yuna, someone just asked an interesting question about the cold, saying, is the temperature a problem with Japan's aging society? You have a lot of people, older people in your society. Is the cold an issue? Would they want to live in this type of house? Or you know, that goes to your clients, you know, the age of your clients. Do you have more younger clients, older ones that feel nostalgia and want to live in a home like this?
Yeah, we have both customers, younger people and elder people also, and I think the younger generation how to say that younger people want to have some dream to live in Kominka is different from the old generations people live in Kominka. You mean do you get it? I think all people have to live in Kominka because they grown up there, and to protect them to live there. But young people wanted to live to Kominka to repair the old style. I think it's very different to thinking. Their thought is also very different, I think. And we try to make warmth inside the Kominka as possible we can. And so we make the solution to keep we make a solution for the cold winter to the people as possible as we can.
Sure.
To put the isolation out of the clay wall. So
I think there's a really interesting question here, Akiko.
yeah.
I'm not sure you're going to be able to answer this. Are you ready? It says,
okay.
Okay, Akiko, ready? It seems like this is a female-dominated project. Was there any history of any male-dominated restoration work, or does this seem to be more equal in Japan in your area?
And female and male.
Well, it seems like you're all women, right?
We both, we don't how to say that. And female and male we work together. So we just show the female picture. 女の子ばっかりが働いてるって。
It's okay if women are ruling. We like it.
But we also female, you know, we also female. So female become very strong in Japan.
Remember who was carrying the beams.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Maureen. Maureen's checking in here. Good.
Yeah, you can see the picture. The man is carrying. Yeah.
Well, there are men carrying them on their shoulders.
It's not only female, you know. So very good question.
That was a good question.
This was wonderful. I think we need to wrap it up, but this was absolutely fabulous.
I think Sue had one other question about one of the slides.
Is Sue unmuted? I'm sorry, honey, if you're not. Oh, is Sue there?
Sue Hilty?
I'm trying to unmute people.
I will unmute myself.
Oh, there she goes. Okay.
I think it was slide 19.
19.
What did it say? Because I could not read it. Oh, this one.
Okay. Preparing the irori and inside the table, which frames out a place to cook. See the complete table later in slide 26 and 27.
Okay.
So this is the irori.
Roof craftsman as well.
Yeah, you can see the old materials as reused.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you see the hole here? The hole. Yeah,
right.
but it was reused materials. So this way we use all materials several times.
Yeah, good. Good.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. This
This is amazing.
Ida, are you still there, Ida?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now. Yep.
I'm saying it was, amazing. It was so beautifully done.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Akiko and Yuna.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.
川原さん、質問。
Everyone can turn on their.
Actually, one question in Japanese. So, はい。
質問。
はい、質問。はい。
ビデオの開始ができないんだけど、ホストがビデオを停止してるから開始で、ごめんね、顔見えないんだけど、川吹きの、屋根って大体どのぐらいの、なんていうの、年数で吹き替えしなきゃいけないの？
はい。The question about how often repair the kaya thatched roof. She's asking to us.
一には全部はやり替えないんですね。悪くなったところだけかやを差し替えて吹き替えていくんです。
ああ、そうなんだ。じゃあ一気には変えないのね。
変えません。
The thatched roof is not restored one time. So they repaired at a couple of times as many years. She explained. So.
ありがとう。
はい、すいません。
いいよいいよ。
Heriko, there's a big thing in our chat that's in Japanese. Can you read that to us?
Which one?
It just came up. It's in Japanese. Riko, can you read that?
I can't see the chat.
That was Kane asking to post in Japanese to anybody to post a question, right, Kane?
Oh, okay.
I did, but there's one that just popped up that I think is another question.
Oh, I see it. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't know if I can
Let
me see if I can.
Hiroko's reading it.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
コーディングして強度や防水のコードがあると聞きますが、リノベーションして古民家には何もなかったようです。耐久性やメンテナンスなどの面では古くからの古民家とリノベーションした古民家が違いはありますか？いろりのこと言ってるのかな？いろり、it's usually make smoke in いろり and make a fire there for keep warm or cooking and smoke coming out to the roof and make dark coating is that's what makes the coating into the waterproof and
does it keep out insects too?
Yeah, and when renovation and after Konika, she thought was I guess whatever. They didn't see that irori, but I saw the irori.
Oh, yeah. So that device, that square,
yes,
that was being asked about earlier.
Yeah.
I think, did you ask that, Sue?
I did.
Yeah.
Irori is like making fireplace and people cooking, all the style of cooking, that place. And how about the maintenance and when I use renovation.
Are you talking about that maintenance of irori?
Yes.
いろりのメンテナンスってどうなさってるんですかって感じなんですけど。
いろりはメンテナンスというよりかはもちろん火を焚いて住まいの中心になるんですね。で火を燃やしてその煙が部屋吹きに上がっていきます。でその煙が古民家を充満させて腐らないようにしてるんです。
So it's making a fire for the people after they renovate whatever they have to make fire and the smoke coming out to make sure that it's not getting bad. I guess everything according for the. I guess people have to use it. Irori.
They have to use that to continue.
Yeah, continue to smoke. They need the smoke.
They have to continually use that fireplace to make the smoke to protect the
inside.
いろりから出る煙が自然の防腐剤なんです。
Then for this smoke is protecting the insects, everything for protecting. For the make wood stronger. Cover it up. Look at coating with smoke. So won't get bad in the wood.
That's a form of maintenance.
Yeah, maintenance, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's so dark. It's black. Smoke.
なので、古民家の屋根の裏は黒くって、それはいろりのすすです。
Yeah, that's from Irori. It's a fire.
Ash.
Smoke and ashes become so stuck in all wood.
Good stuff. Good questions.
Great. Thank you, everyone. I think we are just about out of time.
I do have a quick question.
Okay.
So the old thrashing machine, what was spewing out? So we know that the husks go in, but what was coming out of the thrashing machine? I could not tell.
もみ殻をこう、脱穀機ですね。あれが、手で回して
あれは手で回して回転させることで、もみ殻と実を分けてるんです。で、もみ殻は軽いので、風に吹かれて飛んでいって、実は重たいので下に落ちていきます。
Heavy, so going down, but it's outside.
So it's taking the husk off of the seeds.
Yeah, very dried out.
The seeds are heavy and go straight down, and the husk comes flying out the side, but that's later.
That's what it is.
So that you saw the video, just something that flew in the air.
Yeah.
So it was the husks outside.
And then the shells come off. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
Yes.
The shell comes off.
And there was one quick question. Is there any other fireplace besides the stove in the doma?
Doma, it's a Irori place. Irori, it should be in center of the house.
Gotcha.
So Irori is not placed to the doma. The doma was used as kitchen at ancient time.
Okay.
So you saw the picture of 何番だったっけ? This one.
Yeah.
This is the ancient kitchen. You see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is placed in doma. So it is all made by clay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could see also doma here.
Okay, I think it's time we need to go.
Yeah.
Okay. I think so too.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Much.
It was
Thank
wonderful.
you very much for
You did an amazing job.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone, for coming.
Good night, everyone.
ありがとうございました。
ありがとう。
Good morning.
あー
ありがとう。